Brian Levin is with the Center for the Study of Hate and Extremism out at California State University in San Bernardino. Brian, thank you for coming in. You come in at some of the worst times in the world for us, but there we have it. Now we have you. What is your sort of sense of smell? Do you have one right now about this? Do you have a pattern in your head? Or what do you see of this whole horror right now so far?
Yeah, the first thing I can tell you is the counterterrorism analysts who come out immediately and say they know who it is are the ones who are usually wrong. So let me tell you what the schematic that we use when we train folks from law enforcement, and then kind of narrow it in a little bit. First, you have three types: ideologically motivated, can be political, religious, or a hybrid. Second type, psychologically dangerous, could be a sociopath or someone who has some cognitive impairment. Third, personal benefit or revenge. Here are a couple of interesting things that I'd like to put together. First of all, there are cameras all over the place, so they will piece together stuff as it comes in. The other thing I want to say is there's a lot of stuff that the local and federal law enforcement know that they are not going to put out because it's going to hamper the investigation. They're just not going to do it. Don't think that they don't know what's going on or that they don't have a bigger picture than they have. Now, a couple of things. We all know that it's Patriots Day up in Boston. It's a holiday, celebrates Lexington and Concord, and in the past we've seen attacks like that. So it very well could be an anti-government person. We talked about Eric Robert Rudolph and that kind of thing. But remember, large symbolic events also attract a variety of unstable people. Let me throw another thing into the mix so you might be even more confused by the time I get off. And that is, just within the last week or so, there has been a Salafist jihadist handbook that has been released that shows a variety of things about how lone wolves can cause havoc. And in there, they put a pipe bomb. But for every individual, an unstable sociopath with an idiosyncratic motive, an anti-government extremist, or even a Salafist jihadist, I think someone can make an argument. Right now, the only thing we know is that we have to cast a wide net, not a narrow one, and we certainly don't want to indict whole communities. But there's a lot of stuff there, and I think an argument can be made for any of these types of people.
How about April 15th? Brian, how about April 15th? Does that tell you anything?
Joe Stack crashed a plane into the IRS building as well. So we have anti-government, anti-tax folks, Patriot Day. We also have the recent release of a handbook designed by Al-Qaeda to train loners and small cells and how to do this kind of stuff. One of the instructions that they have in there is a pipe bomb that could be similar to the one that was used here, if in fact it was one. And I don't want to speculate, but let me just say this. I would point to smaller rather than bigger. And what I mean is, as deadly as this was not a sophisticated type of device that would be beyond someone who was committed, who could have access to handbooks that are on the internet that are available to a wide variety of people who could have motives ranging from domestic anti-government, anti-tax, all the way to international. And of course, never underestimate the wild card, someone with an idiosyncratic reason. Columbine was done on Hitler's birthday. So what I'm saying is, any kind of symbolic event that goes around a date that is an anniversary can attract all kinds of people, and not necessarily the person who you might at first think would do it.
Brian, if this person was out to kill a lot of people, it seems they would have detonated this bomb, or two bombs, at a time when there was a large crowd of finishers crossing the finish line. As we've seen in this picture over and over again, this horrible picture, there's only one guy crossing the finish line. You'll see him there on the right, red and black. See him, he falls down. None of the other runners fall. There's only a few crossing the line at that point. Does that tell you that he was detonating this by a time bomb? Because he's not really getting a lot of people at this point.
It could, but here's the thing. Even bombs that have timers, and here's the thing. This kind of information is all over the place. And for every suspect movement that you could say would be involved with this, I could show you someone who can find a type of device that would have a timer. Timers oftentimes do not work exactly as you might think. It also could have been set off in a variety of other ways that I don't want to go into. But nevertheless, I think whoever did this was doing it to get it done, and they knew that it would make a big splash. But again, I think it's somebody smaller rather than bigger. This is, Al-Qaeda does not like these kinds of small kind of attacks. However, there's been a split within Al-Qaeda, for instance, where they're trying to encourage lone wolves. By the same token, we've seen the Portland event that Pete Williams talked about. There are a variety of different types of individuals who are attached to movements or their own idiosyncratic reasons, and it's just too soon to tell. But I do think it's interesting. The date has significance to people in the anti-government and anti-tax world. By the same token, a Salafist magazine that encouraged loners to cause mayhem here in the United States in a variety of ways just came out recently as well. So that's the information we have. It's all speculation beyond that.
Thank you very much, Brian Levin, for coming on with us with what's going on. Brian has a very good sense of what the waves are out there, of the different groups, and we still don't know how it all connects here or how it connects here to reality. It's just these are the various forces in the world.